Welcome, learners, to another deep dive. Today, we're embarking on an extraordinary journey. We've got a stack of source materials centered on one of the most compelling UAP encounters ever documented. That's the USS Nimitz Tic-Tac incident.
Right.
Our listener provided us with some really fascinating interviews and reports. They involve decorated Navy fighter pilot Commander David Fravor.
Fravor.
Who had this first-hand encounter that, well, it truly defied explanation.
And it's more than just, a thrilling story about some unknown object. It's really a powerful lens, I think.
How so?
Well, we can use it to examine how information is processed, maybe even controlled sometimes, how perceptions shift when we face the unknown, and fundamentally what it means to grapple with the frontiers of technology and, well, human understanding itself.
Okay, so our mission today is clear. We need to unpack Commander Fravor's incredible experience, dig into the implications for national security, for science, and also explore this really surprising personal philosophy that came out of his pretty extraordinary career.
It's quite a story.
It really is. So, as we get ready for this deep dive, what jumps out at you right away? What's the first thing?
For me, it's the credibility, the source, the context. It sets it apart.
Okay, with that context set, let's dive right into the specifics of the incident itself. It was pretty unique. Our sources confirmed this happened back in November, December 2004, off the coast of San Diego.
Right, in a designated military warning area. That's key.
And this is critical, I think. The USS Princeton, a cruiser in the Nimitz group, had actually been tracking anomalous objects for days before Fravor even saw anything visually.
Exactly. So this wasn't just some isolated, fleeting radar blip. It was persistent. Something was out there.
Right. So Commander Fravor, he was the CO of an F-18 squadron then.
A manning officer, yeah.
He's on a routine training mission. He's got his WSO, that's the Weapon Systems Operator.
The guy in the backseat?
Yeah. And a wingman, a newer pilot, Alex, with his experienced WSO, Jim. And they get diverted, told to go check out these radar contacts.
And the description they give, it's pretty consistent, about 40 feet long, sort of the size of an F-18 fuselage, but white.
And no wings?
No wings, no rotors, no exhaust plume, nothing you'd expect. And it moved erratically, forward, backward, left, right, like at will. But it kept this north-south orientation even while zipping side to side, and crucially, no rotor wash on the water below it.
Which you'd absolutely see if it was a helicopter or something hovering.
Absolutely. That's a huge detail.
Okay, so Fravor starts descending from 20,000 feet, doing about 300 knots. And what happens next? Well, it's just remarkable, according to the reports.
Yeah. The object, it was hovering near the surface, right? It suddenly turns, mirrors his descent path, and starts coming up towards him.
So he decides to cut across its path, maybe get a closer look. About 2,000, 3,000 feet above it.
Which raises this critical question, doesn't it, about its awareness?
It reacted to him.
It actively responded to his maneuver, definitely. And then, bam. At about 12,000 feet, Fravor's maybe half a mile away, the object just accelerates and vanishes. He actually said it poofed. Gone in less than a second.
Poofed. Wow. And his wingman?
Wingman was higher up, about 8,000 feet above Fravor, confirmed it, saw it disappear at the exact same moment, simultaneously.
Incredible. And when they looked back down at the water where it had been hovering, that disturbed patch.
Gone. Just calm blue ocean, like nothing had ever been there.
That's chilling.
And here's an important point for listeners. Despite all the rumors you might hear, this incident, it was never classified.
Really? Not classified?
Nope. No men in black showed up. Nobody confiscated tapes. No one was told, don't talk about this. It's straight from Fravor. What is interesting is that the object actively jammed their radar, made it useless for tracking.
Jammed the radar. Wow.
Yeah. But they still managed to get some video footage. Now, the famous gimbal video people have seen.
Right, I know that one.
That was actually from a separate East Coast incident, but it reportedly shows a very similar object. And get this, apparently it shows a whole formation of smaller objects around the main one. That detail isn't widely known.
A formation. Okay, that adds another layer entirely.
Right.
So this isn't just about one, unbelievable sighting. Fravor's account, backed by other witnesses, radar data. It really shifted the whole conversation around UAPs, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was a catalyst. You have to think about the historical context, right?
What do you mean?
Well, go back to, say, 1989, mentioning UFOs or UAPs in D.C., you'd get laughed at Congress, seriously. And Project Blue Book. Its official goal often seemed to be disproving sightings or, sadly, discrediting witnesses. Dr. Hynek, their own advisor, later admitted as much.
Right, I remember reading about Hynek's change of heart.
And think about Roswell in '47. No social media, no instant global communication. Much easier to manage the narrative, let's say.
Or the 52 Washington flyover. That apparently led straight to a policy of denial because it caused such a stir. Crash communications, public panic.
Exactly. They wanted to shut it down.
So, given that history, that deep skepticism and denial, how big a deal is it now? We're seeing members of Congress, people like Senator Rubio, Senator Gillibrand, who are politically poles apart.
Yeah, completely different ends of the spectrum.
And they're actively working together on this. What changed, prompted this bipartisan focus?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why the shift now? I mean, programs like ATIP started popping up.
The Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
That's the one. Modestly funded, sure, only about $22 million over 5 years, but it signaled something was changing internally. And then you get the National Defense Authorization Act of 2023. That protection for whistleblowers, that's a game changer. Monumental.
Which is why people like David Grush are coming forward now.
Precisely. And you have others backing up his claims, saying he's legitimate. It opens the floodgates, potentially.
But it's not all smooth sailing, right? The DoD set up ARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, supposed to be a secure channel for reports.
Right.
But whistleblowers, they often seem to bypass it, go straight to Congress or other groups. Does that suggest there's still a lack of trust?
It certainly seems that way, which is where organizations like Americans for Safe Aerospace, ASA, come in.
ASA?
Yeah, it's a 501c3 nonprofit, started by Ryan Graves, another former Navy pilot.
Okay.
Their whole mission is about identifying what's in our skies, mitigating risks for pilots, for aviation safety. Fravor's involved too on their Aircrew Leadership Council. It's very pilot-led.
So they collect reports, formalize them.
Exactly. They gather these cases, sometimes even for Congress, but they make it clear. They do not seek classified information. It gives pilots, military, and commercial a way to report safely.
It sounds kind of like that focus on safety idea you see elsewhere. You know, when you really start looking for something, reports go up.
That's a great analogy.
Not necessarily because there are more incidents, but because people feel safer reporting them. Fravor mentions commercial pilots see stuff all the time.
They do. And for years, they had nowhere credible to report it without risking their careers. ASA helps change that.
Okay, so we've got this shift in government approach, new organizations, but let's get back to the objects themselves. The capabilities described in the sources are just astonishing.
They really are. A key point, the thing that stands out across different sightings, is the consistency.
Like what?
Unlimited loiter time. Just hanging out indefinitely. Extreme acceleration, obviously, like the Tic-Tac. And this propulsion system, they call it a non-reactionary field propulsion.
Non-reactionary field propulsion. Okay, break that down. What does that even mean?
Well, think about it. Everything we build pushes something out the back to move forward, right? Rockets push exhaust, jets push air. Newton's third law,
right?
Action, reaction,
right.
These things, they don't seem to do that.
No.
No visible exhaust, no sonic boom, even at incredible speeds, apparently. It's like they're manipulating gravity or space-time itself. Pushing off, nothing.
It just defies physics as we know it.
Completely. Our fastest jets, you know, an SR-71 at Mach 3+, you'd still see it for a minute as it flew away. The Tic-Tac, Fravor said less than a second. Gone.
So what are the implications? If this tech is real, Fravor mentions Bob Lazar's accounts too, suggesting gravity propulsion.
Yeah, and if that's true, Fravor estimates we could be like 100 years away from understanding it, let alone replicate it.
100 years?
Yeah.
And the objects themselves, they're described as seamless, like one solid piece.
Exactly, like advanced 3D printing, but on a whole other level. No panels, no rivets, nothing conventional. Which leads to the big question. Material science. What known substance can withstand the G-forces involved in those maneuvers? Accelerating like that, stopping on a dime, instant turn.
Our materials would just tear apart.
You'd think so. It really makes you wonder about the engineering, the physics, everything.
And this isn't just about, better fighter jets. This is potentially world-changing technology. A quantum leap for humanity.
Absolutely. Energy, propulsion, maybe even medicine. Who knows?
But that brings up a huge dilemma, doesn't it? Do you share something that revolutionary for the good of everyone? Or do you keep it secret? National security, the fear of adversaries getting it first, like the atomic bomb race.
It's a profound ethical and strategic question. And connecting it to the bigger picture, you have adversaries, potentially, who operate differently.
How so?
They might not have the same capitalistic constraints. They could pour massive state-level resources into cracking this specific problem if they got wind of it.
So the fear is, if the U.S. keeps this research too compartmentalized, too secret, maybe in just a small group.
We might lose our edge, not leverage the full power of our open society or scientific community. Yeah, that's a definite concern some people raise, to fall behind.
But the flip side, as Fravor points out, is social media. It's just so much harder to keep things completely under wraps now, isn't it?
It really is. Information, images, videos, they spread like wildfire.
And with elected officials now actively asking questions, demanding answers, Fravor seems pretty optimistic. He believes we're on the precipice of something big.
It does feel like momentum is building, doesn't it?
It really does. But you know, this deep dive, it's not just about the Nimitz, the tech, the government shifts. It's also about the human side. The impact an experience like this has on someone like Commander Fravor, and how he sees his own life, his legacy.
That part of the material was really fascinating, I thought, his perspective on identity.
Right. I mean, here's a guy, Marine, Navy fighter pilot, Top Gun grad, CHU, involved in probably the most credible UAP encounter ever.
An incredible resume.
And yet, he says quite clearly, he doesn't want that to define him.
Yeah, he defines himself first as a husband, a dad, now a grandpa. That's his core.
And his aim, just to be, in his words, an all-around good, generous person, doing kind things without needing applause.
Which connects to his ideas about leadership, doesn't it?
How so?
He sees real leadership not just as being the best, but as enabling others, helping them succeed, reach their goals, raising the whole team, not just focusing on the stars.
Like that story he told about the young kid obsessed with aviation.
Oh, that was great. Sending him a package, a real Top Gun patch, a personal letter, just to encourage him, that highlights the importance he places on motivating the next generation.
It really does. And he mentioned how his old Naval Academy professors had a bigger, more lasting impact on him than some high-ranking officers he served under later.
Yeah, it's about that personal touch, how you influence individual lives over decades.
Which all comes back to his core belief, right? That true impact isn't about status or rank. It's about kindness, about helping people.
Exactly. And that story about his grandfather,
Wow. A humble beer delivery man.
whose funeral procession was miles long. People from all walks of life just showing up out of pure respect for his kindness, his fairness.
It's such a powerful testament, isn't it? That legacy of basic human decency, of connection, means more than wealth or titles in the end.
Absolutely. A lasting legacy of humanity.
And that philosophy he has, that everyone provides value, that you shouldn't judge people or stick them in boxes, that feels like such a vital takeaway from this whole story.
It really grounds the entire narrative, I think.
So wrapping this up, Commander Fravor's story. It's this incredible mix, isn't it? Astonishing aerial events on one hand.
And deep grounded human wisdom on the other.
His experience, it undeniably forced a conversation at the highest levels. It shifted the whole paradigm on how UAPs are viewed, how they're investigated.
Definitely. And it shines a spotlight on the capabilities of these objects, whatever they are, pushing the absolute boundaries of our science, hinting at a technological leap that could just redefine everything about humanity's future. It's hard to even grasp the scale.
But maybe, just maybe, the most profound takeaway from digging into all this isn't just the mystery of the skies. It's Fravor's personal journey.
I'd agree with that.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that even while the universe holds these incredible unexplained phenomena, our most lasting impact, the thing that defines us, might just be those simple acts of kindness, of mentorship, treating everyone with respect, keeping an open mind.
Well said. So, as you, our listeners, reflect on all this, the shifting landscape, the unknown tech, the human element, maybe consider this. In a world that's grappling with so much weirdness, so much change, so many unanswered questions, how do you personally define what it means to be truly well-informed? And how will you take these lessons, maybe from Fravor's example, about open-mindedness, about simple kindness, and apply them in your own search for knowledge?